together called as the consumer behavior. Is it clear?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, so this is the index, things which we are going to study on this particular topic, consumer behavior. So the concept of the consumer behavior, nature of it, and the concepts which comes under this consumer behavior, utility, and we are having two types of utility. One is cardinal, second one is the ordinal utility analysis, and we are having two items between these behind these concepts, cardinal and the ordinal. These are the laws and the concepts which supports its utility analysis. So these are the thing which we are going to study under this consumer behavior. Yeah, okay. So the first thing is the concept of the consumer behavior. So it says as it's a decision making analysis. That's the consumer behavior is a decision making analysis, because from a starting point to a end point, that is from thinking of purchasing a product and uh, to buying that product, all together we are having so many process in between this start and the end point. So at the each stage the consumer have to decide what to buy, when to buy, and the units, how many units, how many numbers of the commodities, and if you are having variety of channels means which the channel which to be used, and we are having so many availability, so many brands, so many things, so many commodities. So how to select a product, and also various factors which affects like the price of the commodity, the income of the consumer, and we are having so many so from the start to the end point, there are various factors which affects the consumer's behavior. So the consumer has to decide, make a decision himself at each and every stage through the end point. So this consumer behavior is called as the decision making analysis. And we are having, it's a general thing, we are having, that is in the real world we are having three roles of an individual person, that is user of the commodity, payer of a commodity, same commodity, and the buyer of the same commodity. So an individual as a consumer, he can pay for a commodity and he can buy that particular commodity and he can use. So an individual can do all these three roles. And I'm asking one thing, if the three different person can do these three different roles, a user, a payer, and a buyer of the product. An individual can do all these roles, or is there any chance of different persons are having these distinct roles?
Ma'am, your voice is not clear.
My my answer is not clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it's not clear. Is it okay now? Now it's, is it clear without breaking?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
It's
it's
clear
fine.
now.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So here in this PPT, you are having three roles of a consumer. One is the user of a commodity. Second one is the payer who pays for the commodity, and the buyer who buys a commodity. So an individual, a consumer, can do all these three roles. An individual can do. I'm asking a question whether three persons can do these three roles.
No, ma'am.
What different individuals can do these three roles? Do you guys understand my question? Okay, I want to answer. If you answer means, then I'll move to the next one. Yeah, come on. Yeah, okay. So the consumer may be an individual or the combination of two more than one consumer. Maybe two to three consumers can do this role. For example, an individual, that is you can pay money for the product which you're going to buy, and you can use that product which you bought. Otherwise, your father can pay and you can buy the product and your mom can use. Likewise, three different individuals can act these roles of these three things. That is, one may be the payer, the other one may be the buyer of the product, and the third person may be the user of the product. So an individual, a single person can do all this, otherwise a different persons can use all those things. Is it clear?
Yes,
Clear,
ma'am.
guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Just a minute, I'll come. Just a minute. Okay, sorry guys, some person came. Okay, sorry. Can we continue?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So this is the next slide which says about the nature of the consumer. Consumer behavior. So we are having various factors which affects the consumer behavior, or we are having so many reasons which behind the behavior of a consumer towards his purchasing pattern. So what are the factors which comes under, which affects the consumer? Anything, anybody? The reasons behind the purchase of a good. The factors which affects his consumption pattern.
Hello,
Yeah.
ma'am. The first thing is like price,
Price of the commodity. Yeah.
and the second thing is like availability of that particular commodity in in a means in a area,
Hmm. Okay, the
and
geographical factors and the monetary factor. Am I right? Yeah, who answered? Abhinav Prasad? Yes, can you all hear my voice? Is it
Yes,
yes,
clear?
ma'am.
Hmm. Yeah, okay. So we are having so many factors which affects the consumer behavior, and some factors maybe I don't know the name who answered, but the monetary factor, that is the price. If a person is having some income or money in his hand, means he can able to purchase. And the second one is the geographical factors, the regional one. So the availability of the product. So if the market is nearby, means he can buy the product. Likewise, we are having various factors or the reasons which behind the purchasing power or the purchasing pattern of the consumer. And the second one is the dynamic. That is, the consumer behavior process is a dynamic one. It's not a static, because every consumer or each and every individual is different from the other. So one person prefers something, means the other one prefers the other commodity. So the consumer behavior towards any purchase, maybe one commodity or a service, anything purchase, we are having different commodities. So different commodities having different individuals purchases different commodities through though to different reasons. But also this consumer behavior differs to consumer, as we already discussed, region to region, geographical, the availability of the products, the nearby market, all those things, and the demand. If the consumer is having demand to buy a product, if he is in need, means he will buy that product. And the product to product, the consumer behavior also changes. That is, we are having a product line, similar products. That is same product under different brands likewise. So it differs, the consumer behavior differs according to these. And how this behavior, the consumer's purchasing pattern behavior is important to market, how it is to the suppliers, to the producers, how this behavior, consumers behavior is important.
It is necessary to market the product.
Yeah, okay. So that is a product is having demand means he can market, the producer, the suppliers or the marketers can sell that product. So they have to get the knowledge through the surveys or something else regarding the demand of the product. And the last one is improves the standard of living or reflect status. That is, the purchase of some commodity will show the status, consumer status to the world. That is the standard of living of an individual. So this indicates the purchasing of the luxury commodities. So these are some of the factors which make a consumer to buy a particular product, and various factors is having, that is I'll show a picture. Is the picture available? Is it visible?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
It's not visible.
No,
Now
ma'am.
No, ma'am.
it's in the slide itself. Is the slide changing?
Ma'am, it's still in the fourth slide, ma'am.
Not changing.
Yeah, ma'am,
now
it's
it is
visible now.
Now is it okay? So this is the thing, that is, we are having so many words. So these are all the individual factors or the reasons which behind the purchasing pattern of the consumer. Okay. So we are having the age factor. What about age? How the age factor affects the purchase of the commodity? Age and sex. Okay, normally women purchases women's clothes and gents purchases the shirt and pant, his own clothes, his own way of purchasing, and she is having her own way of purchasing. And what about age? What is the difference between the purchasing pattern of a 20-year-old boy and a 60-year-old man? Is there any difference between these two people?
Yes, ma'am.
How and why?
Fashion.
Voice is breaking.
60-year-old men like to purchase cheap things.
I like to purchase cheap things.
Yes, ma'am.
And even
Yeah,
normal things, ma'am.
normal things. Yeah, okay. You can choose any commodity. You can choose. You can come up with any example.
Ma'am, youth prefer bikes and cars, all those things, and old people don't prefer that.
Why the old people doesn't prefer them?
Ma'am, old people go for necessity and their own comfort, ma'am. They won't look for style and attraction in the product.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, guys. You can choose a particular commodity as your example and make a difference between the purchasing pattern of these two, 20 years and 60 years.
Like in clothes, the 60-year-old would like to wear simple khaki clothes, while the 20-year would like to wear fashion designing and what's trend the fashion currently, like jeans
Yeah.
and all.
Yeah, okay. So this age is also one of the factor which affects the purchasing pattern of an individual. How the health issues? How they finance the monetary factor. So that 20-year-old boy is also doesn't have any income, and 60 years old man is also doesn't earn income. So how this finance monetary factor affects them, 20-year and 60-year. Yeah, okay. So the 20-year-old boy get the money from his family members, maybe his father or mother, and the 60-year-old person is going to spend from his savings. So the purchasing pattern also differ. And culture, what about culture? How the cultural factors affects the purchasing pattern? So is there a difference in the purchasing pattern of a 20-year-old boy in India and 20-year-old boy in US?
Yes. Yes.
Can you guys get my question? So what is the difference in the purchasing pattern of a 20-year-old boy in India and 20-year-old boy in US? Is there any change in their purchasing pattern?
Yes, ma'am.
How it differs?
Yes, ma'am.
It will depend on the trends there.
Okay,
What
fashions,
are the trends and fashions are in their
countries. Yeah,
Financial
okay.
condition of both.
Hmm. Okay, I just heard half of your answer. Yeah, okay. So the cultural factors also take part in the consumer behavior. And what about information? So if a consumer is got some information from the producer means, so we are having so many advertisement channels, medias. So if a consumer get the information regarding a particular product means he may go for the purchase of that commodity. And how education helps to purchase a product. So there is a difference in the purchasing pattern of a skilled people, educated people, and the okay, kindly mute now. Okay, kindly mute. Thank you. These are all the factors which affects the consumer behavior. We are having so many factors which surrounds the decision process. That is the need, the values and beliefs, motivations and emotions. How the emotions affects the purchasing pattern. What do you mean by emotional factor? Yeah, okay. For example, if you are using a particular brand of pen means you are using a particular brand, maybe some come with an example. Anybody? What's a brand of pen
Ma'am,
you are using?
loyalty like that.
Yeah, I didn't get
Loyalty, like being a consumer being loyal to that brand like that, ma'am.
Hmm.
It is also some kind of emotion, right?
Kind of. Okay. Yeah, sure. Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And we are also having so many factors, family and references group, the generation that is based on the trends and fashions and stage of the life cycle. So the old style of all those dressing is coming now, and we are having so many factors, other factors and also the media. So all these factors affects the decision process of a individual towards this purchasing pattern. So all this process together called as the consumer behavior. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the basic idea behind this consumer process. how consumer behavior, how he is going to purchase a product. What are the factors which affects the behavior pattern? So this is the concept which comes under the consumer behavior. So what is satisfaction? Satisfaction. Mean by satisfaction. What is satisfaction, guys? Anything? Any answer?
To be fulfilled with this condition.
Yeah, okay. Jairaj Mehta.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Did you answer?
It's the emotion
Ma'am,
generally felt after using the product.
Okay. Yeah, Project now.
ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, even if we take hotel, okay, their service, that is also it's a satisfaction, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Service. Yeah, okay. Any answer for the concept of definition satisfaction? What do you mean by satisfaction? Yeah.
The fulfilling of the expectations and needs is called satisfaction.
Yeah, okay. Fulfillment or the expectation. There is difference between these two words. Yeah, Jairaj.
A general feeling after using a product or experiencing a service among the customer.
Okay. After you bought a product and the usage of the products gives some sort of experience. So in general, that is called as the satisfaction. Is it right? Right? Okay. Yeah, okay. So we are going to study about the other concept which is called the utility, which is a kind of satisfaction. That is, the utility is the power of the commodity which a consumer expects before consuming a commodity. Satisfaction is the term, that is something which a consumer realizes after consuming it. So before consuming a product, a consumer is expecting something from the product. So that is termed as utility. And satisfaction refers to the thing which he realized from the commodity after users are consuming the commodity. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so utility is the concept which we are going to use here under the consumer behavior. So utility is the power of the commodity which a consumer expects before consuming a commodity. That is, the consumer believes that the purchase of this products will satisfy him or will fulfill his purpose. So like this, before buying a product, a consumer, an individual is expecting something from that product. That expectation is called as the utility. And both the concepts, maybe the utility or the satisfaction, both are the psychological phenomenon that it differs to individual, a consumer to consumer, and according to their mindset. Some, for example, person one can get some satisfaction from the purchase of a pen, means the consumer two, second consumer, will not get that much of satisfaction from the same pen. Likewise, the utility also. It is different to person, consumer to consumer. The expectations may be different to person. And this utility concept, while we are going depth under this utility analysis, means we are having several concepts comes like initial utility, total utility, marginal utility, positive utility, zero utility, and negative utility. So we are having several concepts, types of utility comes under the concept of utility. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So from within these, that is, we are having some here. We are having some 6 concepts: total, marginal, initial, positive, zero, and the negative utilities. So from these 6, the total utility and the marginal utility is the important, somewhat get more importance than the other concepts, initial, potential, zero, and the negative utility. So the total and the marginal utility is, what do you mean by utility, guys? What does
Consumption of a product.
What of a product?
Consumption of a product.
Well, can't hear. Be clear. Consumption of a product. Do you say that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Before buying a commodity, the expectation is termed as the utility. The total utility, PU refers to the total utility and MU refers to the marginal utility. So total utility may be get from the utilities of all the units which a consumer purchased. Here U1 refers to the utility which a consumer gets from the unit 1, and U2 refers to the utility which a consumer gets from the unit 2. Likewise, nth unit is the last unit which a consumer gets the utility from the nth unit. So the utility from the unit 1 plus utility from the unit 2 till to the last, up to the last unit of the product. So all the utilities put together to arrive the total utility. And the marginal utility is the utility which a consumer receives from the last unit alone. For example, if a consumer purchases some 5 units of the commodity means, that is, if for example, if you purchase the first unit, he receives some sort of satisfaction from that unit 1, and after he buying the second unit, he will receive some sort of, which is different from the first one, he will receive some level of satisfaction. So from the third unit also he is receiving something, some level of satisfaction, and from the fourth and the fifth one too. So the satisfaction which he receives from all the 5 units are added together, and that is called as the total utility. And the marginal utility, in our example, marginal utility is the utility which a consumer gets from the last unit, that is from the 5th unit alone. So that is termed as the marginal utility. Is it clear? Are the concepts clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So this is
Yes,
the
ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, guys. So this is the classification of the utility analysis. It is broadly divided into 2. One is the cardinal utility analysis, and the second one is the ordinal utility analysis. The cardinal utility, the first part, cardinal utility analysis, was given by Alfred Marshall. Alfred Marshall is one of the economists, earliest economists. That is, in economics, we are having several type of schools. That is, for example, if we are having taking a particular concept means, we are having different views. We can get the different views of the same concept. So we are having the different types of economics, having the different types of doctrines, that is views of the same concept. So for an individual concept, for a particular concept, the economists having a same type of view are put together as a group, and that group is called as the schools of economics. Likewise, we are having several schools of economics. So classical school is the oldest school of economics. So this is the school from the 16th and 17th origin on those centuries. Yeah, okay. So Alfred Marshall is an economist from the classical school which belongs to 16th and 17th century. So this is the oldest school. The classical school of economics is the oldest one. So Alfred Marshall is a classical economist which believes who believes the ideas from the classical school. That is, all the economists from the classical school having the same view regarding the particular concept. Likewise, we are having an economist called Alfred Marshall, and he is from classical school. So he is the first economist who gave his ideas about the utility analysis. So he is the first one who comes with the concept of utility analysis. So this analysis was known as the Marshallian approach, Marshallian analysis, Marshallian utility analysis. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the
Yes,
second, yeah, okay, done. So the second point is mentioned as LDMU and LEMU. So these are the laws law of diminishing marginal utility and law of equimarginal utility. So these two laws was given by Alfred Marshall to prove that is the consumer is behave under the cardinal utility analysis in his purchasing pattern. So if a consumer wants to purchase means he uses this cardinal utility analysis for his purchasing pattern. So this was the argument done by Marshall. So he supports the cardinal analysis and he gave his two laws, law of diminishing marginal utility and the law of equimarginal utility, which was given by Marshall. So he gave these two laws to support the behavior of the consumer, that is that his behavior is based on this cardinal analysis. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The main statement which was made by Alfred Marshall in this cardinal analysis is the satisfaction derived by the consumer from the consumption of a good or service can be measured numerically. That is, if a consumer purchases some commodity means definitely he will earn some level of satisfaction from the commodity. So that satisfaction can be measured numerically. So this was the statement which was given by Marshall. Is it clear?
Ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, you mean like that rating, ma'am, 5-star, 4-star for service?
Not rating. Measured numerically from by using numbers from like 1 to 3. So this is the statement, that is the satisfaction derived by the consumers from the consumption of a good or service can be measured numerically. Starts from number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not rated or not ranked. It can be measured numerically using numbers, normal numbers, numericals. So this is the idea behind Marshall. Don't confuse with the real world. This is the theory based on the 16th and 17th century, and on those days, this was the assumption, statement, hypothesis made by Alfred Marshall. That is, I'll explain it. He just proved all these things in his law of diminishing marginal utility. I'll explain it. While we are discussing his law, we'll go into these kind of discussions. Yeah, okay. So this is the basic idea, that is the satisfaction can be measured numerically. So that is under the cardinal analysis. And coming to the next one, on your right side, we are having the ordinal utility analysis. So this ordinal utility analysis is the opposite view of the cardinal utility analysis. And this ordinal was given by two economists. One is Hicks, the other one is Allen. So Hicks and Allen propounded this ordinal utility analysis. That is, these two authors just disproved the cardinal utility analysis which was given by Marshall, and these economists Hicks and Allen gave their own theory which is called as the indifference curve analysis, and proved the consumer behaves on the ordinal system which cannot be measured numerically. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So under this ordinal utility analysis comes the order, the preference, the ranking, all those things. So in the cardinal analysis, the first one which was given by Marshall, the satisfaction can be measured by using normal numbers. But in the ordinal analysis, they disproved, that is, the satisfaction cannot be measured numerically, but it can be ordered, it can be preferred. They can give ranks according to their preferences. So this was the idea behind the ordinal utility analysis. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am,
yeah.
Ma'am, can you tell the difference between this LDMU and LEMU, ma'am?
Yeah, okay. That LDMU and LEMU are the laws which was given by Marshall, which we are going to discuss.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. And according to Marshall, that is, the satisfaction can be measured numerically by using the scale UTILS, UTILS. UTILS is the scale which was given by Marshall to measure the satisfaction, level of satisfaction. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
This is the idea which was given by Marshall. And next slide says about the assumption of the cardinal utility analysis. So these three are the common assessments, common assumptions or the statements or the hypothesis which was made by Marshall for his laws, two laws, that is equimarginal and the diminishing marginal utility. So these are the common assumptions. So the first one is the cardinal measurability, that is the satisfaction can be measured numerically by using the scale utils. For example, if a consumer is purchasing a particular phone means, he can say, I just received some 100 utils of satisfaction from the phone or the commodity which I purchased. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So,
Ma'am, can you repeat, ma'am?
Yeah, okay. An individual can say, after the purchase, an individual can say, I received some 100 utils of satisfaction from the product which I bought. Got it?
But ma'am, how will you measure it? I mean, satisfaction
Yeah, okay.
according to different consumers are different. So how can
Yeah,
someone
sure,
say that
okay.
if I am on 50 utils and someone is 40, how can we compare them?
Okay. So these utils are different to each person. For example, if a first person receives some 100 utils for the product means the second person, consumer B, can receive some 80 utils for the same product. So the utility, the satisfaction which he received from the products, a single product, a same unit, may be differ to individual. So each and every product will give a different levels of satisfaction to a consumer. So it may differ. But the idea behind is the satisfaction is measured by using the utils, that is using the unit utils. So this was the idea which was given by Marshall. But the levels of satisfaction may be differ to persons to person. That is the utils may be differ. And the second one is the marginal utility of money is constant. That is the money which a consumer spent for the product. The last unit which is spent for buying a product is constant. So this is also a statement which was made by Marshall. Just imagine those ideas. The money which a consumer is spent for the purchase is constant. And the third one is says the each and every product is having the independent utility. So the utility differs. All the points clear? So the first point says the utility can be measured by the unit utils. Second one says the money which a consumer spent for the purchase is constant. And the third one says each and every product is having their own utility. It differs. So these three are the common assumptions, statements made by Alfred Marshall to prove the consumer behave in the cardinal analysis. And coming to the theory, this is LDMU, Law of Diminishing Marginal Utility. So this is the theory, law, which was given by Marshall to prove the consumer behaves on the cardinal analysis. Yeah, okay. So can anyone read the thing which was in this slide? It's a definition which was given by Marshall for the diminishing marginal utility. Anyone? Just read what it is. Anybody? Yeah, okay, nobody is ready to read. Okay, so the additional benefit which a person. Yeah, come on.
The additional benefit which a person
derives
diminishes with every increase in the stock that he already has.
Yeah, okay. That is, if a person that is an individual, a consumer, is purchasing a commodity continuously means the levels of satisfaction which he derives from the successive products will decline. So this is the meaning of this definition. A consumer is continuously purchasing a product, units of the product means the satisfaction level which he receives from the successive products which he purchased is declined. So this is the thing. Is it clear? Is the definition clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So coming to the next one, assumptions. So in economics, we are having assumptions, the statement, the hypothesis before each and every theory. So based on these assumptions only, they are building their theory. So this assumptions, these statements, hypothesis are like the foundation of their theory. So based on these assumptions only, they are building their own doctrine. Okay, so these the assumptions. The first one is cardinal number system is used. The first three is the three common assumptions which was given by Marshall. So the first one is cardinal number system is used. That is, the satisfaction level can be measured numerically by using the units utils. So this is the first one. And second one is the marginal utility remains constant. Marginal utility of money remains constant. And the third one is independent utility. So each and every commodity is having its own utility. It differs. Yeah, okay. So fourth one is the homogeneous units. That is, similar units are purchased. There is no difference in the size, color, fragrance, quantity, quality of these commodities. So each and every unit of the commodity is similar to each other. And the fifth one is, yeah. Okay. Okay, so the fifth one is continuous consumption of a commodity. So in the definition itself, it says the consumer have to purchase a commodity continuously. So it should be a continuous purchase of the commodities to prove this the law. Okay, so the next one is suitable quantity of the commodity is consumed. That Marshall gave this theory, gave this law to prove the cardinal utility behavior of the consumer. So to prove till the end, so much of quantities of the commodity is to be consumed by the individual. So suitable quantities, that is units of the commodity, have to be purchased by the consumer till it should be proved that is it's based on the cardinal analysis. And also we are having no change in the income, taste, character, fashion and habits of the consumer. So a last one is constant price of the commodity. So on these statements, Marshall says the satisfaction level differs to individual and we can measure those satisfaction level of satisfaction by using the numbers, and the marginal utility of money is constant. So these are the main points which he wants to convey. And with these assumptions, these are the two concepts which he uses in his law, that is which we already discussed, total utility and the marginal utility. So total utility is the utility which he gets from all the units which he purchased, and the marginal utility is the utility which he gets from, which a consumer gets from the last unit of the purchase. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Guys, can you able to see the table?
Can we leave?
Who's this? Why? Why you want to leave?
We are taking classes from morning.
Okay, it's already 1:24. Yeah, okay. So can we wind up?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes,
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Just a minute. I'll download the attendance list. Will you wait? Yeah, okay, guys. I got the attendance list. Yeah, okay. With this, we can wind up. And Ritika, are you having class tomorrow? Abhishek, are you having class tomorrow?
Next class is Friday, but the compensation class we arrange it for tomorrow.
Tomorrow. What do you plan to have? Tomorrow means?
Ma'am, for in our class we have classes up to 3:50, ma'am. So after 4 o'clock only we can have it, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Okay, Ritika, we can have a discussion regarding this compensation later by evening.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, ma. So with this, we can wind up. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. We'll meet tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Definitely.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, ma. Okay, ma. You can leave. Thank you.